I want to jump into a conversation that we were having the other day, and we were talking about paradox. And I had made a point of pointing out the truth in the middle of the paradox, right? So I kind of want to ask you a specific question. What would you say that the paradox of your life has been that has kind of shown you the truth in the middle of, let's say, the chaos or the madness or whatever you didn't like about it? Well, what's the truth in the middle of it?
I would say the biggest paradox was, in the face of adversity and struggle, I still was able to find it within myself to love everybody and myself. You know what I mean? And that's what unconditional love is. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or position that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. So like it's all about, though it doesn't look right. It doesn't look like it's doing what it's supposed to do. It doesn't make sense when you look at it at face value, when you hear it the first time, when you come across this understanding. It doesn't make any sense. But then when you further investigate it, when you take a step to the side and you turn your head a little bit and you see it in a different perspective, it's like, oh, wow, that makes the perfect sense. The most sense that I've actually ever thought that I could understand as sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to think about something interesting, you can just consider that nothing, by definition, does not exist. So what's left is existence.
Mm,
And when you think about the nature of duality and principles like that, you realize that you can't have one without the other. That is the yin and yang. That
right.
is they're synonymous. And so you can perceive that through it's basically access through your imagination, and when you
Right.
integrate with your intelligence and stuff, you have to be able to remember that the imagination is a very important, crucial aspect of our intelligence, and it's just as valid and real as intellect.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you can't have one without the other. That's the same paradox right there. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that also goes with the pattern that I always talk about. This dichotomy of these dynamic energies that are doing a dance connected. And
I love that you use dance. Yeah.
yeah, and it's love.
Yes, intermingling of masculine, feminine, intermingling of energies that are continuously forming and changing new, but same, never-ending movement. So it's so funny that this conversation went that way, because I didn't say anything about that, but having a conversation about the imagination, it always brings me to, every time I've been told, like, wow, you have an overactive imagination, you have an overactive imagination, you have an overactive imagination, and my like struggle to understand, okay, what the fuck is an overactive imagination? Like, how is an imagination overactive? And then I finally figured out to me what an overactive imagination is. And it becomes overactive when it is in any way imbalanced. So by imbalanced, I mean, at one point in my life, my overactivity of my imagination was an abundance of using my infinite imagination, this amazing reality creating ability that I have, that we all possess, to create these scenarios of dismay, to create these perspectives from other people's points of view of me that were horrible. It was used to project into the future failure, and seeing myself in a lesser stance than I was at the current reality, you know. So I was using it in this one way. So it was overactive because it was imbalanced. It was going in this one way of not serving myself. But then you can also have an imbalance the other way, because if you can have an imbalance in one way, you can have an imbalance the other way, right? So, I've getting into that, and I still it's like little ups and downs, you know. It's ups and downs for me all the time, and I'm constantly finding new systems to help keep me on the track. But I've been in a situation, or in mindset, or imaginative overload, where all that I'm projecting is good, is positive. But doing that doesn't allow me to see some of the dark side that I need to see to do something about. The shadow work, if you will, you know, the stuff that actually needs attention, that I gotta actually see. So it's a balancing of that imagination for me, and what I've found, and that's what I talk about a lot, is that balancing of you, knowing that the good and the bad is up to you. So therefore, if you are perpetually in a bad state, well, what are you doing to yourself? You know?
Absolutely.
It's kind of a hard pill to swallow, though. You know, it's kind of like
Yeah, no,
it's a punch. I got a punch in the throat. You know.
it's crucial though, and it's vital, you know, and it's through dialogue like this that we're able to reflect these concepts back to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and actually see them in a new light. Because when we're only present with our own energies, you know, sometimes it's helpful to have reflection. You know, and that's what we're here for. You
Absolutely.
know, that's why we have many people instead of just one person. You know,
Right.
just to share our ideas with each other and learn from each other and grow together. You know,
Multiple perspectives of the one.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that imagination a little bit more. You know, we were talking about the all mind, right? All is mind, mind is all. Um, so in that, it's just saying it is kind of hard to like really see the gravity of it. But then, as you again see through the paradox and investigate more, I want to ask you a question, and I know that this is a rhetorical question, but can anyone in this world, in this existence, any animal, any creature, any entity that is physical, can they see through your specific eyeballs?
I guess that's the great question, right? I believe that consciousness is not local. I believe that we exist in a field of consciousness. This has actually been proven scientifically. You know, if that's important for you, that you know, it's non-local, and our brains essentially are working as receivers that are tapping into this consciousness,
Right.
and our brain essentially stores information and programs so that it can,
Essentially make life easy. You know, that's
right,
that's
right.
the basic form. But
Yes, but
what I'm asking is
sometimes
like,
the brain can become too overpowered and start to be so loud that you can no longer pick up to the field of consciousness around you, and that's when it becomes
so
that's
that's what I'm getting at, is like for your like the your eyeballs right now, that you're seeing your phone and you're seeing me on camera and that kind of thing. Can anybody in the world, can they see through those eyeballs, like your specific eyeballs? Can they see your point perspective exactly as you see it right now?
no, we each have our own unique dynamic experience.
Right, right. So with that being said, for me personally, I'm like, if I'm the only one that can see through these eyeballs, and I can see this radio show, and I can see my perspective of it, and that's the only perspective that I can actually see with my eyeballs. How can I see life from another perspective? How can I see somebody else's point of view? How can somebody else see something from my point of view? And then again, it's that paradox. However, the middle of that paradox, the truth that you can see if you take a deeper look at it, is that firstly, I can't see exactly from your perspective. However, I can feel from your perspective. I can feel from your examples of life that you and the central nervous system that you own have experienced. I can feel from that. And then from there, I can understand from your point of view, or more so understand from your point of view. You know, and I think for me, it's not even think, I feel so strongly, so deeply that's kind of like the missing piece of a lot of the dysfunction that goes on in what we see and what we're told, and it is dysfunction. Like that's the only thing that's missing is the understanding of one another, understanding that no, you're not going to see life from my point of view. You're not going to feel life from my point of view. You're not going to feel what it feels like to, you know, like be a this or a that. You're not going to feel what it feels like to grow up with this parent or that parent. No, you're not. But what you can do is you can understand me and I can understand you. And we can connect deeply on what is truth, which is that we are different expressions of the same thing. Whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that understanding of one another, that connection of one another, because that is love. That is what you see when you have very small children that are from different religions and races and cultures, and they're all playing together. And they're all loving each other. That's what they know. That's what we all know.
Yeah, yeah, and the more that you analyze the world around you, the more apparent it becomes that this love is actually a fundamental, innate aspect of our existence. You
Mm-hmm.
can see it in all things, like the animals and just it's a whole spectrum, and it can be expressed in a number of different ways. And I've always believed that all of our emotions essentially constitute what love is. Love is not just love is not just joy. Happiness is not just joy.
Mm.
Happiness is sorrow. All of those different things together, coalescing to that ultimate experience. That's what true happiness is.
So, for our listeners, like, and for the sake of our conversation, let's break that down. So, like, you just said that happiness is a culmination of sorrow and the stuff that automatically, like, no, that's bad, that's fucked up, I don't want that, right?
Right.
So in your experience, how is that to be like the paradox of that? What's the investigation that proves it to be true?
Because the only way you can feel that deep and resounding sorrow is if you are loving, if you love, if you have that love. You know what I mean? And so when you realize it from that perspective, you understand that, like I always say, you can't have one without the other. They
Mm-hmm.
beget each other, and that's that masculine, feminine again. It's
Number seven.
there. Yeah. Um, I mean, just it gives you a deeper perspective. Like they say, in we shine the brightest when we're in the dark, right?
Mm.
So it's that perseverance that allows your consciousness and your spirit to evolve and to be able to um, you know have a better capacity for compassion
I feel that. I feel that.
and empathy. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
most people don't know what it's like to be out there on Skid Row, really struggling. They don't know, and so when they see people walking around all days, they might have judgment or something like that. But when you can imagine yourself in their shoes, you can or when you actually have been in that situation, it gives you a better perspective on things, and it allows you to be grateful, and that's the fundamental thing right there, is remaining grateful, like regardless of the situation that you're in. gratefulness centered, and then all the other emotions fluctuate. You know.
Mm. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that analogy, keeping the gratefulness centered. Because in my life, in my experience, I find that the gratefulness is kind of like the compass, like the true north. It's the gratefulness that always helps me find my way back to a connection with that highest self, the connection with the love that I know I am. It's not like I forget, but sometimes I'm disconnected. I find myself disconnected to it. Sometimes I find myself like really deeply struggling in a like a very low vibration, trying to find where that love is. But then I'm reminded, I put these like breadcrumbs for myself all over the place. Whether it's how I've written my schedule on my calendar, just little things that I see that aren't actually events, that just little things like, hey, I love you, Greg. Or little like notes that I write to myself, or little things that I do, that little sounds that I make that make me laugh because it sounds funny when I say it, or popping off in a different accent. There's different little things that I do that kind of remind me of that, but it reminds me of gratitude, because those are those little pathways that I've created over the years, that are pathways to gratitude that go to my brain. In my brain, when I pop off in a British accent, and I get a little swag on it, and I'm like, hey, how are you? Are you looking very good over there? How are you? Is it a good day or is it a bad day? I feel like it's a very good day. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. When I pop off into that, there's this thing that goes off in my head, and it's this bright light that goes to gratitude. And I'm grateful for this moment right now, and the ability to have this voice, and to speak English through this weird accent that I just came up with, or the ability to stop and say, I love you, Greg, and mean it. It's gratitude. It's little tiny things that nobody else hears or sees. Well, sometimes people hear it and see it, but these little bitty things that nobody really knows is going on, because it's just me. It's just me mending my world, keeping my world in harmony. And I feel like that's that right there. That is, and it doesn't look the same for anybody. Any two people, it doesn't look the same. It's something that is created by you, for you, about you, to love you. That's it. Simple. Just love you. What do you feel is one of the major factors for your experience that has held you back from loving you, or that the illusion of something holding you back from loving you? What has that been, that stumbling block?
I think probably just the judgment. Actually, yeah, that's the main thing, is the judgment. Because when we judge something, we actually solidify. Like the answer to our problems is super simple, but for the ego, simple doesn't compute. The ego can figure out simple. The ego tries to complexly articulate all kinds of different scenarios, and that can sometimes lead to a kind of smoke-screen veil of judgment. You can't see things for what they are. You can only see them through the filter and perception of your judgments.
Yes. I really hope my ex-wife is listening. That was good. That is, so on point. So on point. That over complexing or complicated. There we go. Overcomplicating things. Oh my goodness gracious. I can resonate with that so hardcore, because that's something that's still, even daily, that I check myself. I'm like, oh wait, simple. It's okay. Simple. Yes. Simple. No. It's ones and zeros. Keep it simple. So I wanna end this off. We have about right under 5 minutes. I want to end this off with, what would be the one thing that you would want someone that is in a position similar to the positions that you've experienced in your life, what is one thing that you would want that person to hear?
Just don't ever give up. And if you hear that whisper in the back of your mind that's compelling you, cultivate it and don't stop listening to it. You know what I mean? Because it will get louder, and it is in your highest, in your best interest. If you follow that whisper, it will take you to where you need to go. Just don't give up, and don't believe the lies that are given to you, that are force fed to you, because it's just a means of control. And if everybody inside wants that freedom, right? If we want that freedom, we have to be able to understand that and trust ourselves with it and act upon it. So just don't give up. That's the best thing I can say. Just don't give up.
Hmm. That's powerful. It's powerful. In the simplicity of don't give up. It's take another step. You know, that's it. Is take another step. A lot of times when I'm coaching one of my tumbling students, they get to the end of the session and they're tired, and we've done I don't know how many reps of practicing for a back handspring walkover, whatever it is. They're tired, and then I say, okay, it's time for conditioning. And conditioning, Coach Greg conditioning is always core. It's very much core, so focused. So, and it's always hold for at least 45 seconds. And it's a static hold doing a V-sit, or doing a 45-degree, lean, or whatever it is. But what I do is I count. We count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go all the way to 40. And then at 40, I say, slow it down. Slow it down. And the last 5 seconds, 41, 42, 43. And I mean, they're all face red, like that kind of thing. 44, 45. Everybody drops, and oh my goodness, right? And then I'm like, okay, now for the next one, because we do 3 exercises every single time. So 3 exercises, okay, down to the next one. I do that on every single exercise because we do it 45 seconds every time. And after a couple sessions, I always explain to it, but you know why I slow down at the end? Do you know why? And they're like, because you hate us, or like, because you want to torture us. That's usually their response, right? And I'm like, no, not at all. I want to strengthen you. And here's why I slow down. Here's why slowing down is strengthening you. Because you know that you're working really, really hard for this goal. And a lot of times in life, so many times in life, you know what? Every time in life, when you have a goal that's big, a goal that's in front of you, a goal that you haven't yet reached, and you start out on that journey and you're working towards it, when you get really, 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 really close to achieving that goal, that's when you have to do the most changing within yourself. That's when you have to let go of all of the things that have been a weight for you, a struggle for you to get to that point. That's when it takes the longest, but it's just 5 seconds. You're just one more step. You're so close. But that's usually when it gets the hardest, because that's at the time when you have to drop it. So I slow it down so I can help you, equip you to win at all the goals that you set out for yourself, to accomplish all the goals that you set out for yourself. So you know what's coming. It's gonna get hard, but you're tough enough. Guys, thank you. Goodness gracious, we ran out of time. Oh my goodness gracious.
Thank you so much, man.
Can you come back? Would you come back on the show with us?
I would love to, man. Anytime.
All right, y'all.
Awesome.
Keep in touch. We're gonna have Del Sol back.
Right on.
Oh my goodness. Wow. This is intense. Man, that was a good show. That was a really good show. That was fucking kick ass. Okay, that's off. She's got that. Fucking A. That was awesome. Anyways, bye bye. Love you. Thank you for watching. You're amazing.